Good evening, good evening. This is Venus with No Mess. Welcome to my channel. If you like this content, please hit that like button. Hey guys, I just want to hop on here. I just want to talk to y'all about this gentleman named Brandon Grimes. Brandon Grimes killed a Baltimore police detective, Troy, back in January the 9th, 2007. On the 2008, he was sentenced to life in prison plus 20 years. Guys, ever since Brandon been in prison, Brandon been scheming. Brandon been making up fake documents. Brandon been scheming. He been forcing other people's names, trying to get out of jail, and scheming money from the city of Baltimore. Brandon Grimes is a thief. It's a demon. And he's the cook from the stupid department. I'm gonna let y'all take a look at these two clips and I'm gonna chat. I'll try not to be on here too long, but I just want the young people to see. Prison ain't all what you think it is. Because if it was that great, Brandon wouldn't even be worried about trying to come home. Okay? Brandon Grimes was committing crime for time with no walk in prison. His name is Brandon Grimes. Here we go.
A man serving a life sentence for the murder of a Baltimore City police officer nearly 20 years ago is now indicted on new charges.
The city state's attorney says the defendant orchestrated a scheme to get out of prison and receive financial benefits. Alexa Ashwell was there for today's announcement and joins us live in studio with how investigators say they uncovered this alleged crime. Alexa?
Kai Mary, investigators say the defendant convinced others he was wrongfully convicted and then used them to assist him in this scheme. The scheme, they say, included fabricating ballistic documents and forwarding them to the court in hopes of being exonerated of an officer's murder nearly 20 years ago.
Good morning. How's everybody today?
Baltimore City State's Attorney Ivan Bates announcing the indictment of Brandon Grimes, the man who was convicted of the murder of Baltimore City Police officer Troy Chesley nearly 20 years ago. These new crimes, investigators say, part of a scheme to secure an exoneration and subsequent financial benefits through committing identity fraud, attempted felony theft, and evidence tampering.
The allegations outlined in this indictment are not only egregious, but they represent an attempt to undermine the work of our department.
Back in 2024, investigators say Grimes, while serving his life sentence for Chesley's murder, filed a petition for a writ of actual innocence in Baltimore City Circuit Court. In the petition, Grimes alleged an assistant state's attorney turned over new evidence, including a ballistic report. Grimes alleged BPD had suppressed that report, showing Grimes was also a victim in the January 2007 shooting and shot by the same weapon that killed Detective Chesley. This different from the original narrative, in which investigators say Grimes shot Chesley while he was off duty during an attempted robbery. And during that time, Chesley returned fire, also striking Grimes. Chesley was killed.
They're like 9 or 10 shots. At first I thought it was firecrackers.
In July of this year, investigators say the Conviction Integrity Unit reviewed Grimes' filed bullet report. These court documents highlighting several inconsistencies, including the names and signatures on the report from 2 firearms examiners who they say did not prepare or sign the report.
Additionally, the property numbers on the report did not match. The report style was inconsistent with that of an authentic bullet report form. Further investigation revealed that Mr. Grimes began discussing a scheme to file the writ of actual innocence with a woman in 2023, whom he convinced that he was a miscarriage of justice.
If convicted, Grimes now facing an additional 142 years in prison. Now, during the press conference, it was asked if the woman who allegedly helped Grimes during the scheme will face any charges. Bates says right now the office cannot go any more in depth. Alexa Ashwell, Fox 45 News.
Fox 45 News continues following the recent indictment of Brandon Grimes. Grimes is serving a life sentence for the murder of a Baltimore City police officer nearly 20 years ago. but he now faces new charges from the state's attorney's office for orchestrating a scheme to get out of prison and receive financial benefits. Joining us now is the chief of the Conviction Integrity Unit for the Baltimore City State's Attorney's Office, Lauren Lipscomb. Thank you, Lauren, for coming in. You uncovered this case. Take us through the evidence against Grimes.
Thank you. Yes, we have charged Mr. Grimes, and should mention that these, of course, the indictment represents allegations, and Mr. Grimes is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Mr. Grimes actually filed what's called a petition for writ of actual innocence in March of 2024. And when he filed that petition, he attached a couple of documents to that motion. And so as a state's attorney's office, we are tasked with reviewing those documents. And at some point, one of the documents looked a little bit suspicious, and we were reviewing the case, and the team came in and said, hey, we've got this document. It looks a little suspicious. I said, yep, I think this is a fake, but prove me wrong. And from there, an investigation was undertaken. And at the end of that, the matter was turned over to the Baltimore Police Department's Homicide Division for investigation, which resulted in charges.
You have said this case may only be the tip of the iceberg as it relates to people taking advantage of the criminal justice system. How big do you think a problem is this? Do you feel like you see you catch all of these fraudulent paperwork, that type of thing?
So I would say that what's really key is to make sure that there are persons who are experienced with the system who are reviewing these cases to identify these kinds of schemes, these kinds of games that people do play. Unfortunately, in the instance that we're talking about, what was uncovered and what's part of the public record is that this individual was looking to not only secure his release from DOC, but also to make off with money, to essentially attempt to steal. It is alleged that he was attempting to steal money from the state of Maryland. And that's where it gets a little bit complicated. I actually was one of the loudest supporters of a recent Compensation Act, which is the Walter Lomax Act, which passed in the Maryland General Assembly, and permits individuals to be compensated if they have been wrongfully convicted and have been in prison for a crime not committed. And that was in 2019, and for the years earlier than that I supported that legislation, and I was very vocal about that. When the legislation, however, came to a point where it was about to pass, it turns out that there was a loophole within that legislation. And that loophole was such that a person could be in criminal court, could file a post-trial motion, that be granted, and then that person then could go over to the Office of Administrative Hearings, basically civil court, and say, hey, I'm factually innocent, and the state of Maryland should pay me money. So it's a little complicated, and I understand it sounds like it's a little bit in the weeds, but there is a loophole, and for whatever reason, the last administration did not listen to the warnings about that particular loophole. And the chair of the Erroneous Conviction Committee also, for whatever reason, did not heed warnings, if in fact our office had raised them with him, that there were going to be these instances, given that there was a pathway for individuals to make their way over to the Office of Administrative Hearings and an attempt to secure money from the state of Maryland. We've actually had one such case.
Yeah, so interesting. So it sounds like maybe for next session, lawmakers will have to close that loophole. Very interesting, but this case at least bringing
Okay, guys, I just wanted y'all to see this clip. And young people, if anyone click on this, don't try this when you go to prison. If you go to prison, try to stay out of prison. And young folks, just to let you know, if a prison was that great, why would this man want to come home? And let's get to Brandon Grime. Brandon Grime unlived a police detective out in Baltimore City. Oh, yes, he did. And they gave him life plus 20 years. Whole time Brandon been in jail, Brandon been committing crime. Brandon needs to stay in jail. I pray and hope that they can get enough information on Brandon where they can give Brandon 100 some years so he can stay in there. Because Brandon, if he come out, he's gonna commit crime. He's been committing crime all his life out in Baltimore, Maryland. Yep, all his life. Brandon been committing crime. And this is when I tell you that some people too far gone. He's too far gone. He's too far gone. He shot that officer when he was off duty because Brandon was doing something he had no business. He was out there committing a crime. And at that time, that officer walked up, but he was off duty. And he had his weapon. And he pulled his weapon and, to protect the bystander. Brandon shot at him. He shot at Brandon. But somehow, he lost his life. What I'm trying to say that there's no hope for Brandon. Brandon do not need to come home. And if anyone looking to this to work in the criminal justice system, no. Do what you have to do. Brandon do not need to come home. Brandon don't need to be out here. Brandon is too far gone. Brandon is now working with Dodinos. You're gonna go to prison for unaliving a police detective. And while you in there, you committing crimes. You done written up false documents and signed other people's name on it with the badge number, guys, with the ID code. He's in there trying to fraud to get, what it said, $1.4 million from the city. See, like I said, it's no help for him. It's no help at all. I don't understand why they calling this a loophole. This is a hole. And Brandon was ready to get in that hole and get out of that jail. That's what that was. Out there prison, I mean. And that's what that was. I'm so happy that someone stood up and had the common sense to look at the documentation or the documents or whatever was going through there and say, hey, something looked wrong. Something wrong with this don't look right. I'm so happy there was someone that caught this, because we would have had this criminal back out here committing crimes. Because that's why he in there, because he committed a crime. So guys, I just wanted to bring this to your attention. That sometimes people go to prison, and while they behind the walls, they get to go to the library, read the books, they get to go to classes, and some of them take that to their advantage, and they commit crime when they're behind the walls. It happens every day. And Brandon is a proof. Brandon is the proof that it can be done. So I pray and hope they take care of that and fix that and throw someone else slide through. But just like the lady said, how many other people had made fake ones, documentation, and they're out here and we know nothing about it. That's scary. But they could be committing crime and just haven't got caught. So guys, let this be a lesson. Don't try this when you go there. What I would like to say for the young ones, go get a job. Stop committing the crime. Put the weapon down. Please. And then you won't have to go through this. Put the weapon down. Okay, guys? So if anyone have any feedback on this video, please leave me a comment. I'll try to answer as soon as possible. But also, I want to say this, that lady that helped Brandon, yep, she needs to be charged too. I don't know what they're going to do about that, but the lady that helped Brandon Grimes, she needs to be charged because she had no business helping a criminal. We should have let the department, police, or whoever is supposed to be taking care of that. Why would she go behind our back and try to help Brandon Grimes when he shot the officer? So I pray and hope that they could get to the bottom of that also. So guys, until next time, please have self-control, discipline, and common sense, and be careful who you come in contact with, and be careful who you keep in company. Until next time, peace out.